welcome back to Tammy Talks About. Have you ever noticed that when someone who is an acquaintance, worked with, or even a close personal friend of Johnny Depp's, the description of him is very different from the person that Amber Heard makes him out to be in all of her claims? And I think you have. But I saw this courtesy of Mary Sue. Thank you, Mary Sue, who sent me this tweet that Johnny Azar put out. She says, "Oh, boom, Jonathan Shaw, longtime friend of Johnny Depp, does not hold back on what he thinks of Amber Heard. Respect." And I wanted to read this to you. I think this gives you a real good idea. And I think it very accurately describes the person Johnny is and the person Amber is. But before we jump into this video, of course, you know the drill by now. If you like this video, leave me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this description. And of course, as always, feed that pesky algorithm and share this video. Okay, so as I said, this is from Johnny Azar on Twitter, and this is Jonathan Shaw, who is a longtime friend of Johnny's, that tweeted this actual tweet. "As a close personal friend of Johnny Depp's for over 30 years, I've only seen him to be one of the kindest, gentlest, most sensitive, and generous human beings I've ever had the great pleasure to know. The man is constitutionally incapable of raising a violent hand to a woman. Everything I know about Amber Heard, however, and it's a lot, seems to support the many claims that she is a lying, two-faced, bottom-feeding fame whore who lives by the old Hollywood code of hooray for me and F you. It's disgustingly obvious to anyone with half a brain that the absurd, contrived allegations about Johnny's behavior are nothing but a pathetic and desperate attempt to extort money from my dear little brother, period." I don't think I've seen a better description of both Johnny and Amber anywhere. And that's the thing. Usually when you have a violent person, there will be someone who can corroborate that that person is violent. Because here's the thing, he's now 58 years old. He didn't go through his entire life and then suddenly, when he got together with her, become this, well, as she describes him, monster. You see, it just makes sense that if a person is violent, at some point, even if they're not violent all the time, at some point throughout their lives, especially if they've had a life as long and in the public eye for as long as Johnny has had, that you would find evidence or someone willing to say, "Yeah, man, I seen him do this," or "Yeah, he did this to me." Nowhere. I mean, she even hired a private investigator at one point. And the guy could find nothing on Johnny. Found out a lot on her, but not on Johnny. And that's just one more example of how you cannot take her serious. And I mean, that quote of calling her a fame whore, well, that's what Ryan Leone said about her too, which I know not got the best reputation, but it's not the first time I've heard that about her. And, you don't find a lot of people outside of people like Josh Drew, Rocky Pennington, Whitney, that are willing to stand up for Amber. And in fact, Whitney, I think she doesn't have a whole lot of choice. I genuinely believe she's afraid of her. Or it's one of two things. She is just blindly following what her sister's telling her to do, or she's afraid of her. Or, well, let's say it's one of three things where she's been paid. And then when in the case of Josh Drew and Rocky Pennington, well, they lost their free ride when Amber and Johnny weren't together anymore. And I mean, can you imagine living in LA, living in one of the most exclusive addresses in LA, and not having to pay a dime for anything? I mean, they had it so good. They were able to work selling jewelry. And we're not talking diamonds and expensive stones. I mean, I think the jewelry was a little bit expensive maybe to some people, but we're not talking, major stuff. We're talking jewelry you can make. So, and if I'm correct, and I may be wrong on this, but it seems like I read somewhere that they sold at flea markets. And they were able to get by in LA on that. And then Josh Drew was able to turn around and open a restaurant. Do you know how expensive it is to open a restaurant? Which I guess maybe he was able to save money all those years he lived in Johnny's penthouse, rent free, utilities free, I'm sure cable free. I mean, all they had to do was pay for their food, and she probably used Johnny's money to even buy that. I wonder if they even had to clean. I mean, Johnny has the cleaning crew. I wonder if they even had to clean their own penthouses, or if Johnny's cleaning lady was stuck cleaning their penthouses as well. I haven't heard that said, and it doesn't really make any difference on the case, but it's like, they had it made. So, of course, they lied. I mean, when you look at that statement, and I'm going to read it one more time, and we'll end with this. But when you look at that statement, that is indicative of what every person who has been asked about Johnny Depp, this is how they've described him. And this is basically how Amber's been described by more than one person as well. One more time, it's Jonathan Shaw. As a close personal friend of Johnny Depp's for over 30 years, I've only seen him be one of the kindest, gentlest, and most sensitive and generous human beings I've ever had the great pleasure to know. The man is constitutionally incapable of raising a violent hand to women. Everything I know about Amber Heard, however, and it's a lot, seems to support the many claims that she is a lying, two-faced, bottom-feeding fame whore who lives by the old Hollywood code of hooray for me and F you. It's disgustingly obvious to anyone with half a brain that the absurd, contrived allegations about Johnny's behavior are nothing but a pathetic and desperate attempt to extort money from my dear little brother. Period. I don't think you can get it any better than that. Tell me what you think about it, though, in the comments down below. And be sure and share this video. Now, this is one that I think needs to be shared. I think more people need to hear what kind of person she really, truly is, and what kind of person Johnny is. Until next time, be blessed.